Everyone knows a dog living 10 years is considered a long life. But Uncle Joe had a yellow dog he had raised for 30 years. Rain or shine, the dog guarded the village entrance under a large locust tree. Every night Uncle Joe would dress the yellow dog in mourning clothes. He then placed fruits and sacrificial offerings on the ground, lit incense and prayed. Next he would draw a strange symbol on the earth. Finally he placed the yellow dog in the center of the symbol. After that Uncle Joe would leave. The yellow dog would stare intently toward the village's back mountain. Uncle Joe would only retrieve the offerings at the break of dawn. By then the dog would be asleep in its kennel under the tree. The villagers saw the dog's strange nature. They didn't dislike it, instead they loved it dearly. They never treated it like a mere animal. Whenever a household cooked something delicious, the first bowl was always brought to the village entrance for the yellow dog. One day the village gambler Johnny learned people in the big cities love to eat dog meat, especially old native dogs of a certain age. Their meat was firm and the flavor exquisite. A single pound could sell for a small fortune. So Johnny set his sights on the yellow dog. That night after Uncle Joe left, Johnny approached the locust tree. He saw the yellow dog glowing faintly under the tree, its eyes fixed unmoving on the back mountain, completely unaware of Johnny's approach. When Johnny was about 15 meters away, he pulled a homemade crossbow from his coat, aimed at the dog and pulled the trigger. A steel bolt coated in potent poison struck the dog's neck. The impact made the dog's head jerk back slightly. It did not fall nor did it cry out. It just stood there completely still. Johnny froze in confusion. This poison was supposed to be instantly lethal. An ordinary dog would drop within 2 seconds, but nearly half a minute had passed. Then something even more terrifying happened. The dog did not charge at Johnny to bite him. It simply lay down slowly, just like it did every night before sleep. Its eyes never closed, still staring intently at the back mountain. The diamond-shaped patch of white fur on its forehead, under the moonlight, seemed to shimmer with an eerie red glow. Johnny wanted to turn and run, but greed kept him rooted to the spot. He waited like that for several minutes. The dog remained motionless. Finally Johnny cautiously crept closer. He nudged the dog's head with his toe. Seeing no reaction, Johnny let out a long sigh of relief. He pulled out a burlap sack he had prepared, planning to go to the city that very night. But instantly his expression changed. Johnny found he couldn't lift the dog with one hand. The dog looked sturdy, but 80 pounds at most, yet it felt welded to the ground. It wouldn't budge. Johnny strained with all his might, only managing to lift it a few centimeters. Just then a loud boom echoed from the back mountain. Suddenly the dog's body felt much lighter. Johnny's face went pale. A noise that loud would surely wake the villagers. So Johnny hoisted the dog and ran toward the back mountain. There was an abandoned old kennel up there. He figured he could wait out the heat there and contact a buyer directly in the morning. But the farther Johnny ran, the heavier the burden on his back became. He had to put the dog down to catch his breath. But when he looked at the dog, Johnny almost fainted from terror. The yellow dog lay peacefully on the ground. A dark shadow seemed to be crouched on its back, no bigger than a hand. When Johnny rubbed his eyes and looked again, the shadow was gone. Only the dog's unblinking dead eyes remained. Johnny was on the verge of breaking down. Just as he was about to leave the village boundary, the sharp clang of a gong cut through the air ahead. The sound was piercing in the quiet rainy night, followed by a hoarse and furious "Shout, you damned murderer!" That cry instantly lit up the pitch-black Willow Creek village. Like a match to kindling, almost simultaneously hundreds of dogs in the village began barking wildly. Johnny's legs gave way beneath him. How could Uncle Joe, that half-blind old man, know the dog was dead so soon? Johnny instinctively glanced at the dog. He saw that somehow its lips had drawn back, revealing its white teeth. Its expression looked like a smile. Before Johnny could react, angry roars from villagers rose behind him. Johnny knew he was finished. In those simpler times, getting caught meant being beaten to death on the spot. Only the forest offered a slim chance of escape. But then the long-dead dog suddenly stood stiffly on all fours. Its body appeared to be lifted by something unseen, gliding across the muddy ground, moving step by step toward the deep mountains. Seeing this, Johnny was utterly petrified. He dared not stay a moment longer, scrambling away in the opposite direction. But he soon stopped dead, because countless green glowing lights appeared on the hillside. They were not lights but pairs of eyes. All the village dogs were there. They made no sound at all, blocking every possible escape route. Behind the wall of dogs, dozens of villagers in raincoats slowly emerged. Uncle Joe stood at the front. Johnny blustered with false bravado, "What do you all want? Murder is illegal. I want to turn myself and call the police." Uncle Joe narrowed his eyes slightly. "Johnny, do you know what this dog's purpose was? It was warding off evil for the whole village. You killed it today, and all that trapped malevolence from the mountain has nowhere to go but to you." Before the words faded, Uncle Joe struck the gong in his hand with tremendous force. "Close the gate and beat the dog." At that command, 2 Rottweilers were the first to charge out. Their eyes blood-red, they lunged at Johnny. But Johnny had some training. He sidestepped, dodging the first dog's lunge, and kicked it away with a powerful blow. Yet the Rottweiler seemed to feel no pain. The moment it hit the ground, it twisted and sank its teeth into Johnny's calf. Johnny screamed in agony. He fell to the ground, unable to get up. Then the second dog came, and the third. More and more dogs swarmed him. They didn't rush to kill him, but toyed with him like prey. Johnny was tormented beyond endurance. He began to beg and plead for mercy. "Uncle Joe, I was wrong. Please spare me." He sobbed and wailed in the mud and rain. But the villagers showed no reaction. Uncle Joe calmly watched Johnny writhing in the mud pit. He slowly raised his hand and made a downward gesture. Instantly the frenzied pack stopped their attack. Uncle Joe coldly uttered 2 words, "Take him." 2 strong villagers stepped forward. They dragged Johnny toward the mountain like a dead animal. There was an old kennel on the mountain abandoned for over a decade. It was where the village kept its hunting dogs decades ago. Rumor had it many dogs with rabies died there. The place was thick with negative energy. As he was being dragged, Johnny's vision grew blurry. He lost track of time. Eventually he was thrown hard onto a cold concrete floor. It was a sealed room about 20 square meters. In the darkest corner of the room, a worn-out straw mat lay on the ground. A dark figure sat upright upon it. It was the yellow dog. Johnny was still processing the scene when a voice suddenly spoke. Johnny flinched violently. Who's talking? The room was empty, except for him and the dog's corpse. Johnny's terrified gaze shifted to the dog. The dog's previously lowered head was slowly rising, its dead gray eyes fixed directly on Johnny. Johnny finally broke completely, and let out a blood-curdling scream. That shriek echoed in the kennel for a long time. When dawn came, the heavy iron door creaked open a crack. Two men stood in the doorway. One was Uncle Joe, the other was a village strongman named Hank. Hank held a dirty rusty metal bowl. Inside was a pale yellowish paste. Hank looked with disgust at Johnny cowering in the corner. We really have to feed this animal. Uncle Joe didn't speak, he just nodded. Hank walked in and slammed the metal bowl onto the ground. Eat up, it's good stuff. Don't starve to death, we need to answer to our ancestors. Johnny didn't stand up to walk over. He slowly crawled toward it instead. His eyes were locked on the slop in the bowl, his throat making desperate gulping sounds. He buried his face in the bowl and lapped up the food like a dog.